Guys, welcome, welcome, welcome. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Hopefully everything's set up well. This is going to be super exciting today because I got a little phone call the other day and like, oh, hey, we're going to send you something. I'm like, what are you guys going to send me? It's in this box. I think you know what I'm talking about. I think it's the one. Super excited for this. All right, guys. So this is a beautiful pocket knife. My wife got it for me for Christmas. Beautiful. It's Damascus. You can see all the beautiful lines. We're going to open up this box and see what's inside. Really excited. If you guys have any questions along the way, pop them down in the chat below. Let's talk a little bit about what's happened today. So this is really cool because I've been waiting for this camera or a camera like this since 8K technology has come around. And I'm really excited that Sony finally put out a model that does 8K. Oh my goodness. Ha, 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 ha. So this is going to be a pre-production version. This obviously isn't the production version. Ooh. Maybe it is the production version. Look at that. Look at this box. That is a sexy Sony A1 box. Wow, 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 wow. Jesse, thanks for joining me. This is really exciting stuff. I'm like super stoked to get the opportunity to do this. I want to thank Sony for sending this out. I'm going to be doing a project with them with this camera this weekend, actually. So I'm going to be putting it to the test. I'll also be using the new Kessler Cine shooter to help me out with that. Going to make some movie magic. But let's just go ahead and unbox this guy because I'm so excited. The minute Sony announced and launched the A1, I looked at those specs and I was like, what? 8K photos and 8K video? I shoot 8K video. This is going to be awesome. I mean, in the past, I was using the red Helium 8K for all my stuff. And since then, there really hasn't been an alternative aside from going from like a Black Magic 12K. But I really obviously want to stay in the Sony family. And I'm really excited that this camera does 8K. So we're going to talk a little bit about the camera, show it off. And then hopefully in the next couple of weeks, I'll be able to show you guys something that comes from it. I'm technically not allowed to show any images off of it until a little bit past February. So I'm really excited to see what happens. Wow, it looks like they actually, if this is the production version, which it could actually be the production version, it comes with a CF Express A card reader, which is really nice. Perfect. Got all of our fun dongles that come with it. Little USB-C 3.2. All right. Hey, Kessler, good to see you guys on here. How's it going, guys? Wow, no, this is pretty amazing. This looks factory to me. This does not look like a production model. I received the production model, the A7, R3, and R4 in the day. This looks legit. Wow. Charger comes with it. A beautiful new A1 strap. Ooh, these are my favorite straps. They used to do it where it only said Sony. Now they actually do it to where it actually says whatever the camera model it is that you're wearing. And I think that's really awesome. So this is nice. Very choice premium leather, rich Corinthian leather, one might say. It is not Corinthian leather. But let's get to the creme de la creme. Here we go. Got this going out here. All right. Thanks, everybody, for joining who's around. Ooh. Ooh. Look at this. Now, Sony told me there's only a few of these going around right now. So being able to get the opportunity to actually use this before it's even launched is amazing. I'm so thankful. So Sony, thank you guys for sending this out. I really can't wait to. Oh my God, it's got that new camera smell. You guys know that smell that I'm talking about? It smells like creative success. I love this. Wow. So the feel of this body, I will say, actually feels much like the A7S III that just came out, albeit it doesn't have the new screen, which I'm really thankful for. As much as I love, being able to like flip out every now and then, for shooting video, it really got in the way. And I'm really glad that this Pro camera only has the tilt up and tilt down, because I missed that. I actually wish the other versions did that too. Or maybe sometime in the future, they'll invent something that does it both, which would be great. But let's just go ahead and take a look. Yeah, this feels really nice. Super sturdy. Really nice grip. I can get all my fingers around it. Oh, I must sit down here. All right, Andy Morse, good to see you. It does smell expensive too. Yeah, these are not cheap. But I think Sony's really pulling out all the stops with the new A1, especially since this camera is literally every camera Sony has ever made in one camera. I mean, you're talking about 50 megapixels for photos. It's got 8K resolution for video. It shoots at 30 frames per second in 8K, which is absolutely insane. It's like perfect for wildlife, sports photography, and anything in between. I'm going to be using this personally for landscape and cityscape and even commercial video production. So this is going to make a great B cam to my FX9 now that it has the S-Cinetone and other log shooting modes on that. It's going to pair so well with those two cameras. And the versatility of having such a small body is just going to be so awesome. So I've got a battery over here. I'm going to charge her up, put it in. We'll see if it's the factory reset or not. Okay, this is a production model, or this is a non-production model. I'm looking at it right now. I'm going to enter in all of the date information really quick. Perfect. January. Image. Oof. That just starts up instantly. If you remember back in the day, whenever you had a mirrorless camera, sometimes it could take 5 to even 10 seconds to start up. This is literally flip on and it's on, ready to rock and roll. AK Magic. They've also added a new dial up here on the very top of the camera. Hopefully I'm going to get that in focus for you guys, if you guys can see that. And that's going to allow you to switch between high plus, high, medium, and low shooting modes. And I believe the high plus is shooting at the full range of the FPS, and then regular high is only 20 frames per second. And then when you get down to the medium and low, it drops further from there. But that's going to allow you to have larger buffers if you're shooting just photos. This also boasts a ton of new ports. I love that it's got the full-size HDMI port on it. That's really going to be helpful, especially for any kind of video production that you're doing and you want to have a monitor view out. It also has a USB-C for charging, which is fantastic. If you know what I do, I love to do time-lapse photography, so I actually use that charging port quite a bit. So you can put in portable batteries and plug that in and then charge it. And then the camera basically has unlimited power, which is really, really nice to have. I'm glad they instituted that a couple reiterations back. It also has the micro USB port. So if you're using an external intervalometer or any kind of other detachments that you'd want to add to your hot shoe up here, you have that connectivity there as well. Do we know the 4K max frame rate? That's from Jessica, or Jessie, sorry. I believe the max frame rate is 4K at 120, which is damn impressive. And that's at 422 10-bit. So really beautiful color space there. The 8K, I believe, is 420 10-bit, which it's still pretty amazing. It would be nice if it was 422, but I understand that if it's 422, the heat that this thing would produce would just be insane. That being said, it is still 10 bits, so you're still getting wonderful, beautiful color out of it. I can't wait to test that aspect out. I'll be shooting a lot of HDR content with that. Some of you guys might know I've just got a brand new monitor from Dell that's 100% HDR, and it's going to be beautiful to see this 8K content on that and see how it comes out. Overall, though, they've reverted back to, so if you have the A7S III, they used to have the record button right up here where C1 is at. And now they've placed the record button right back at the top. And I actually like where the record button is here. On the A7S III, it can be kind of cumbersome because I like to use the C1 as my focal zoom in so I can check focus. So it's nice to be able to get that button back in that aspect. But overall, I mean, the design of this is flawless. They've really come a long way in the past 5 years putting this camera together. You can literally see all the reiterations from the Mark I, Mark II, Mark IIIs, and Mark IVs, and it's coming out so well. Like, I have to give Sony accolades for that because they've listened to their customers, they've listened to professionals that are out there, and they keep making a product that's just absolutely insane. And I don't know where you go from here. Where do you go from 8K photos and 8K frames from here? The only thing that I can see that I really would want in this is obviously raw video. And I know there's some challenges with licensing codecs for that at the moment, but hopefully in the next few years that'll be taken care of, if you know what I mean. And realistically, the only other advancement from this is either more resolution, higher, better ISO, or if Sony starts utilizing their new curved sensor, that could give sharpness and improvements across the board, as well as autofocus. So I'm really excited to see where this goes. I'm going to be putting this through the tests over the next couple of days, as well as obviously doing a project with it. And I will share my adventures along the ways. And then hopefully when I'm able to show the video and the photo, I'll let you guys be able to see all that stuff happening. Brian, good to see you, man. Everybody hopping in and post. This is awesome. I am so excited for this camera, though. How many of you guys out there are going to plan on getting an A1? Are you guys going to stick around with your other cameras? So I know I've got a collection of A7S3s, A7R4s, R3s, and even some regular 3s just laying around. And I think what's great about this specific camera is that it encompasses every single model that Sony has made. And like, where do you go from there? I mean, it is expensive. It's $6,500 basically, a little more after tax, depending on where you live. And that's a lot of money for a camera, but it's also giving you the freedom and the ability to basically do whatever you want with this thing. If you want to shoot still life photography, if you want to shoot sports, wildlife, portraits, anything in between, this camera does it. Like, what the hell? Sony, what are you doing? I mean, this is so awesome. Where do you go from here? It's incredible to see where these cameras have come in the last 5 to 6 years. When I started first using the Sony A7S, that was my first Sony camera. I was blown away by the high ISO and the ability to go out there and just shoot the night as if it were day. And I'm really excited to see what the low light capabilities are of this. I know that, you know, it obviously has a higher megapixel, the resolution is higher, which means that the dynamic range is going to go down as well as that ISO. But at the same time, I think that this is going to be a super viable camera for lower light situations. And even something like astrophotography. I think this is going to be that sweet spot where if you're going out in the desert, you want to shoot the Milky Way, but then you also want to shoot daytime landscapes. This is going to be the camera to do it. And the fewer cameras you have to bring, the better. I mean, for myself, you know, I'm always going on location. I will bring anywhere between, 4 to 8 cameras, just depending on what we're shooting. And each one of those cameras has a different purpose. So if I'm bringing out my A7S3s, those only shoot 4K. So obviously I'm only shooting 4K stills. But for other productions, I'm going out there, I'm shooting 8K and even 10K in some instances where we have to then merge certain shots together, create panos. And this camera's going to do it all. Like, holy shit. I don't have to bring 4 or 5 other bodies with me. I can, you know, spend the money and just purchase one body and then get it all. It's a wow factor. Like, I don't understand. Like, this camera shouldn't exist, but it does, and Sony's crushing it right now. So obviously, as you know too, I have a couple of these on order. This is just a pre-production model I get to use. But when I get my other ones in there, I'm probably going to be getting rid of my A7 R3s and R4s because this basically nullifies the use out of them. Obviously, if you, they're already paid off, you don't have the money, they're still amazing cameras. The A7 R3 is literally my favorite camera out of anything Sony's ever made, just because it's almost in that sweet spot. And this one just takes the cake for that sweet spot. It's not too high in megapixels. It's not too low in megapixels. But this has all the video features that I want that were in the S3, if not more, which makes this camera the S3, the R series, the 3 series, and anything and everything in between, including the A9, which if you're a sports photographer or, you're shooting the Olympics or you're shooting editorial, this is the camera to get. Holy shit. The frames per second on this thing, I haven't even tested it out. I mean, we can test it out right now. Let me see if I can get a lens, because that would be awesome. David Snyder, good to see you. Yeah, I think what we're going to do, Andy, with the future comparisons, we will absolutely do that between the A7S III and this. I can't show anything from that yet, but when I do a full review, we'll do that with that. So I'm going to throw on a lens here. Actually, let me throw on the new 12 to 24. All right, if you guys are just joining me, we're unboxing the Sony Alpha 1. Look at that, the A1 logo, a little bright there. Insane. So what I'm taking out right now is the new 12 to 24 G Master lens. I'll plop that on. Oof, it sounds so good. All right, so pull this out. I know you guys aren't going to be able to see this, but I'm going to throw this into full manual mode and just see how fast the shutter speed is at ultra high. Wow. Okay, so this is high plus. This is 30 frames per second. Here we go. I'm going to see if I can show you this. Holy shit. This thing just took off. Holy hell. That shutter. Holy shit. This camera's insane. I've never. So when I first started playing with the A9 that came out, whatever, 2 or 3 years ago, I was blown away about the 16 frames per second or so that it got. And this thing is doing 30 frames a second. It's literally like a machine gun going off. Yeah, I'm going to see if you guys can hear it with the mic. I'm going to put it right next to you. Oh my God. This thing is nuts. Sony, you're never getting this back. I'm sorry. Oh my God. Wow. So the one thing they added too was a new EVF and up at the top, the electronic viewfinder. And it supposedly boasts the best resolution and the best color that they've ever had in the monitor. So I'm going to zoom in and see. Wow. Now, I know you guys can't see this, but so what's happening inside the camera right now is I'm zooming in, utilizing the manual focus function. And what that does is it punches in post. This thing looks crystal freaking clear. If you remember anything from like the R3 series or the Mark II series, it was always grainy and you really couldn't get a good sharp focus on this thing. But this is just tack freaking sharp. Oh, oh my God. This thing is insane. All right, so this is also shooting at 12,800 ISO. I'm going to pop a card in here really quick, see what we got here. Let's see, for the cards, I'm using the 128 gig G series. It's transfer at 300 megs a second, which is nice. It has the same dual card slot that the A7S III has, and it also has the compact CF Express A ports or cards. If you guys don't have these already, I really recommend picking up a few of these because as soon as this camera launches, it was hard enough to get with the A7S III. These things are going to be even harder for the A1, and you'll definitely want these, especially if you're shooting the 8K in 10-bit, because this is just going to help offload all that material that much faster. So I'm not going to use that for now. I'm just going to use the standard UHS-2 card. Throw that in here. Wow. Wow, the files are hard. And so one of the cool things about the camera that this now has is the ability to switch between the quality settings. So you can now not only do a lossy, I believe you can do a lossless as well. So let's go in there and check it out. Yeah, you've got the new settings here. If you can see that, hopefully coming on. But you basically get the ability to do uncompressed, lossy, and lossless. And to be able to have the lossless in there is pretty awesome. So I'm going to choose that quality setting. And with a 128 gig card, that is effectively giving me, hold on, I've got to format the card. And it does have the new touchscreen in the back there. So if you've got the A7S III, you'll know exactly, you'll be familiar with this menu system because it's the exact same as the A7S III. All touch enabled. I'm going to come through here. Power sound, XP setup. Wow, 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 wow. So with 128 gig card, it's looking a little bit over 2,200 shots, which is perfect, especially for time-lapse photography and 8K video. Oh my God, let's turn on the 8K video mode. This will be fun. So going through the video settings on this thing, we can go through to our, hopefully in the future, I'll be able to actually hook the cameras up so you guys can see the menu boxes as they're coming in. Chelsea, thanks for joining us as well. Everybody that's watching right now, thanks for joining. This is pretty exciting. We're going over the new Sony A1 that just came out. And I'm gonna go to movie settings. And inside the movie settings right here, I'm gonna, breaking boxes. Let's see if that focuses. There we go. It's giving you the choice to choose between 8K, 4K, and HD. So we're gonna go with the, what's it called? The 8K option there and see exactly how that works. So I've got the XAVC HS 8K selected. Under movie settings, I only get two choices between frame rates. I get 30p and 24p, which I like to shoot at 24. And then there's only two different versions for the recording setting. It's always going to be 10-bit and it's always going to be 420. But you get the difference between 200 megabits and 400 megabits bit rate, which the 400 is pretty great. If it was 600, that would be even better. But 400 is great. So if we use the 400, it says we have to use the AF Express card. So I'm going to go with the lower version, the 200. So the 200 works with the regular SD card, which is nice to see. And I'm going to turn down my settings. Let's see what the 8K looks like on this. Wow, 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 wow. The 8K takes up a ton of footage. With a 128 gig card, it's only giving me, it's looking like a little under an hour. Not even that, 30 minutes. Wow. You know what's weird though is the stabilizer's turned on and it looks really good, very smooth. Turn the autofocus on, see how well it does that. Wow. Wow. So the autofocusing inside of the video is super fluid and super smooth. I would actually say that it, just looking at just a quick demo, I haven't even set up the autofocus on this. It looks better than the A7S III. Wow. And just like the A7S III, you can do image tracking with your autofocus. And this thing is doing great. So what I'm doing is I'm actually pinpointing this lens here. This is the 100mm macro from Sony. And on the camera, I'm literally just creating a box around that camera. And it is doing an awesome job of just tracking the focus in and out. Wow, 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 wow. Yes. Hey, Amy, thanks for joining us. Amy is a fearless worker over at Sony as well, and she is an amazing person. So thanks for joining us, Amy. And thanks for putting out that information about the maximum frame rates. Yeah, it is at 4K, it is 120. And I believe at just HD, we can get movie settings. Oh, you need to have a higher setting there. So it looks like for HD, it's also coming out at 240, but I'll have to check. I believe there was a 240 aspect to that, but I'm not sure. I could be wrong, so I don't want to say anything that I don't know. Wow. This is so cool. So that's pretty much it for right now. I want to thank you guys so much for joining me. There's going to be a lot of talk about this camera. If you are a Sony shooter, this is going to be one of those cameras that you're going to get excited for. I'm literally chomping at the bit right now to go out and start shooting with this, which I'm going to. So look for some demos on that coming shortly. But if you guys have any more questions about the A1 or you want to learn more about it, you can go to Sony's website, obviously, or alphauniverse.com and check them out because there's always a ton of awesome information out there. Or you guys can come and ask me directly. Go to my Facebook page. Comment down here in the comment section of my YouTube page. We are going to do an awesome job of showcasing this camera because this is Sony's new flagship camera. This is the camera to beat, honestly. And I know that Canon's coming out with stuff and Nikon's coming out with stuff, but they ain't coming out with stuff like this. This is amazing. And I really want to thank Sony for giving me the opportunity to even play with this ahead of time. So thanks, guys. And for everyone else that's out there, if you've got one of these on order, you are going to be so excited when you get it. It is amazing. And if you got FOMO where you're like, oh, I really want to get one, but it's really expensive, I also want to say don't break the bank. If you've got cameras that work for you already, ease into it. I would say that this camera is going to be around for a while. It's going to retain its value for a while. So, you know, work yourself up to this level. This is the A1. It is the creme de la creme. And I think it's going to be a great investment too at the same time. So if you are in the market for a new camera and you're looking for something that's going to take the place of your video camera, your high resolution still camera, and your fast action shooting camera, this is it. This is it. And this is, guys, I'm not trying to push this camera, but believe me, this camera is so freaking cool already. Wow. Anyway, thank you guys so much for joining me. And as always, if you guys haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. Always come out with new material. And if you guys have any questions, just put them down below in the comment section, and I'll answer them as soon as I can. And I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. And as always, happy shooting, everybody. Thanks for joining me, guys. Cheers.